Alien commanders boasted of their invincible fleet. Humanity answered with silence. Then Fire Admiral Zexathara clicked his mandibles in satisfaction as he reviewed the holographic display before him. The third hegemony's grand fleet stretched across the void like a constellation of death. 12,000 vessels of varying classes, their hulls gleaming with the distinctive crimson and gold of the empire that had conquered 47 star systems in the past decade. "Behold the futility of resistance," he announced to his assembled bridge crew, gesturing toward the blue-green marble that hung before them. "This primitive world dares to reject our generous offer of assimilation. They shall learn the price of defying the hegemony." Commander Veltox, his second-in-command, approached with measured steps. "Admiral, our initial scans confirm their technological limitations. Their most advanced vessels appear to be rudimentary fusion-powered craft. Their population barely exceeds 8 billion. Conquest should be trivial." Zexathara's compound. Eyes glittered with amusement. "Indeed. Yet they refused our ultimatum with such audacity. No counteroffer, no negotiation, no plea for mercy. Simply, we decline. Such brevity in the face of annihilation is almost admirable." The Admiral had expected fear, perhaps desperate bargaining, or at least some attempt at diplomacy. Instead, the humans had responded to the hegemony's demand for surrender with a message consisting of merely 2 words. It was unprecedented in his 3 centuries of military service. "Open a channel to the human homeworld," Zexathara commanded. "Let them witness the magnificence of their doom before we commence orbital bombardment." The main view screen flickered to life, displaying what appeared to be a simple communications room. A single human sat behind a metal desk, elderly by their species standards, with silver hair and wearing what their databases identified as a military uniform. The human's expression was unnervingly calm. "I am Admiral Zexathara of the Third Hegemony Grand Fleet," he announced, his voice carrying the authority of a conqueror. "You gaze upon 12,000 ships, each capable of reducing your cities to ash. My forces have crushed civilizations far more advanced than yours. This is your final opportunity to surrender unconditionally." The human studied him for a long moment, then spoke in a voice devoid of fear or hostility. "Admiral, I am General Harrison of Earth Defense Command. I have a question for you." Zexathara tilted his head, intrigued despite himself. "Speak. In your conquest of 47 systems, how many species did you encounter that had already achieved interstellar travel when they first evolved?" The question caught the Admiral off guard. "None, naturally. Spaceflight is always a post-evolutionary development." "Wrong," Harrison interrupted quietly. "You're looking at one right now." Before Zexathara could process this cryptic statement, his tactical officer's voice cut through the bridge. "Admiral, sensor anomaly. We're detecting massive gravitational distortions throughout the system." The holographic display transformed. What had moments before shown empty space now revealed the impossible. Thousands of vessels materializing from what appeared to be folded space itself. They emerged not from hyperspace or any conventional FTL method, but from dimensions that bent reality around them. "Impossible," Veltox whispered. "Those readings? Some of those ships are larger than our command dreadnoughts." General Harrison's voice continued from the view screen, maintaining its conversational tone. "You see, Admiral, most species develop spaceflight to escape their homeworld, to explore, to expand. We developed it to hunt." The human vessels moved with predatory precision, their dark hulls seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it. They formed attack formations with the fluid coordination of a pack that had hunted together across millennia. "Our ancestors didn't reach for the stars out of curiosity," Harrison explained as Zexathara watched his fleet's tactical display dissolve into chaos. "We reached for them because we had already consumed everything else that moved on our world. Earth didn't produce explorers, Admiral. It produced apex predators that learned to fly. The first human vessel to fire didn't use energy weapons or kinetic projectiles. Instead, it unleashed something that made space itself scream. The targeted hegemony destroyer simply ceased. Not destroyed, not vaporized, erased as if it had never existed. Those 47 civilizations you conquered? Harrison continued conversationally. They were prey species that happened to develop technology. We're the first predator species you've encountered. The difference is significant. Zexathara's mandibles clicked frantically as he issued orders, but his fleet was already dying. The human ships moved through his formations like sharks through a school of fish, each kill surgical and devastating. His vessel's weapons, which had reduced planetary defenses to rubble across dozens of worlds, barely scratched the humans' adaptive hulls. "Retreat," he ordered. "Full withdrawal to hyperspace." "Negative, Admiral," his navigation officer reported, voice trembling. "They're jamming our jump drives. Some kind of spatial distortion field. We can't escape to FTL." On the view screen, General Harrison stood, his calm demeanor never wavering. "We gave you a choice, Admiral. You chose poorly. Now you'll serve as a message to the rest of your hegemony." The human fleet began to move with renewed purpose. No longer were they simply hunting, they were herding. The surviving hegemony ships found themselves pushed into tighter and tighter formations, their escape routes systematically cut off. "You wanted to see humanity's response to your ultimatum," Harrison said, his image growing larger as his ship approached Zexathara's flagship. "You complained about our brevity. Allow me to elaborate." The space around the hegemony command ship suddenly filled with weapon signatures unlike anything in Zexathara's database, devices that turned matter into energy, that folded space-time into weapons, that converted the very void into ammunition. "We are the children of a world where everything evolved to kill everything else." Harrison's voice echoed across the dying fleet's communications. "We are the descendants of the species that hunted every other apex predator on our planet to extinction. We reached the stars not in spite of our nature, but because of it." As the last of his fleet's shields failed, Admiral Zexathara finally understood the true meaning of humanity's original response. They hadn't declined out of ignorance or bravado. They had declined because they were already hunting. The final transmission from Earth Defense Command reached every corner of hegemony. The